Hey y'all, it's November the 23rd, 2015. I'm gonna cover this little bit of news for you. Alright, Yahoo Health, an organization called Yahoo Health, just wrote an article and I put a link to the article. Here it goes. This is what they are asking. Will men be able to give birth sooner than, well, never, because they never ever have. Ever. Right? That's the question provoked by last week's announcement that the Cleveland Clinic is performing uterus transplant surgery on women who were born without a womb or whose uterus is deceased or malfunctioning currently. Hearing the news, we and some of you wondered if science can transplant a uterus into a woman. Can it transplant one into a man? And now, yes, I've definitely been wondering that. Okay, let's go. Let's continue. The answer, according to Yahoo Health, is yes. Theoretically, men could receive a uterus, carry a baby to term, and give birth to a baby. But what really blew our minds, that didn't blow it. What really blew our minds is that the day of male pregnancy is closer than you'd think. My guess is 5 to 10 years away, maybe even sooner, says Dr. Karen Chun, the director of the Fertility Preservation Program of the University of Southern California's Keck School of Medicine. Today, medical advances let transgender women adjust their biochemistry to suppress male and introduce female hormones, have breastises that can lactate, and obtain surgically constructed vaginas that include a neoclitoris, which allows for sensation. Until now, however, a place to carry the fetus, a womb of its own, was a major missing link. Uterus transplants could conceivably surmount that hurdle. I'd bet just about every transgender person who is a female will want to do it if it was covered by insurance, says Dr. Christine McGinn, a New Hope, a doctor for a New Hope somewhere in Pennsylvania, a plastic surgeon who performs transgender surgeries on men and women and is a consultant to the new movie The Danish Girl, about one of the first recipients of a sex reassignment surgery. McGinn, a transgender woman and a mother of twins, says the human drive to be a mother for a woman is very serious. It's a very serious thing, and transgender women are no different, even though they were born with wieners. Uterus transplants are still in the research stage for women suffering from uterine factor infertility, UFI. A Swedish team already has successfully transplanted uteri harvested from live donors and achieved 5 pregnancies and 4 live births. In the coming months, the Cleveland Clinic team plans to transplant uteri from deceased donors, that's not creepy, into UFI female patients. Transplant surgery is difficult and dangerous, requiring patients to take anti-rejection drugs, all sorts of anti-rejection drugs, throughout their pregnancies, putting them at risk for infection. But for many women, and presumably for many transitioning women, uh, the risk is worth the reward. However, biological women have a leg up on biological males when it comes to accepting and nurturing a, a transplanted uterus. Women already have vasculature needed to feed the uterus with blood, pelvic ligaments designed to support a uterus, a vagina, and cervix, and natural hormones that prepare the uterus for implantation and support the pregnancy. Men have none of those support systems, naturally, but none are impossible to create, especially if you are God now. Male and female autonomy is not that different, says Chung. Probably at some point, somebody will figure out how to make it work. In fact, medical techniques already exist to overcome many obstacles to male pregnancy. Hormone therapy can shut off testosterone and introduce progesterone and estrogen needed to prepare the uterus for pregnancy. Even though males do not have uterine veins and arteries needed to nurture the womb, it's possible to attach a branch of large vessel like the internal iliac to the uterus. It's doable. It's just has never been done, says Chun. Although it's preferable for a vagina to support the uterus, it's possible to attach a transplanted uterus to other ligaments in the pelvis. At the moment, the thorniest problem standing between men and pregnancy is transferring an embryo grown in vitro into the transplanted womb. The usual route for women undergoing fertility treatment is through the vagina and cervix and into the uterus. But since the uterus has never been transplanted into a biological male, otherwise known as a male, techniques are to connect a constructed vagina to a transplanted uterus have not been attempted. But Dr. Elliot Jacobs, a Manhattan plastic surgeon, says that theoretically connecting the two is not, I repeat, not a major surgical feat. Perhaps the most insurmountable obstacle will be the economics. Transplants are wildly expensive, ranging from 25,000 for a corneal transplant to 1.3 million for a heart, according to the National Foundation of Transplants. You can't even begin to guess how much a uterus transplant will cost if the surgery makes it out of the research phase, and chances are slim that insurance companies will pay for it. It's a class issue. You'll only have wealthy people able to do this, says McGinn, who is featured in the documentary called Trans. Also, transplanting uteri into men provokes ethical questions about long-term health outcomes for transplant recipients and subsequent children, and the benefit to society of using so many resources for men and women to experience the joy of birth. The end. All right, y'all. All right. I got three main points to make. It is November the 23rd, 2015, and there's three quick points to make. First of all, um, it's clear by this article that certain people are, in fact, trying to play God. We already knew that, all right? But you know what's funny and weird about that is most of these people will say there is no God. That's why we can do whatever we want, all right? And I know it's random and ridiculous, but there is no God, and therefore there's no consequences. And everything's random, so we might as well just love everybody and do what everybody wants. In fact, we are God now. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to play God even though there is no God. My question is this. If there is no God, then how exactly can you play God? How would you know how to play God if there wasn't one? Number two, I want someone to explain to me how this won't create a world of confusion, of absolute confusion for a child. Um, I would imagine a situation of your mother being a man and and a lady too would be pretty confusing. Now, I've seen a video, and I'm going to try and leave a link at the bottom of a lady who uh, became a man, all right, but in the process of becoming a man, she had a boyfriend, um, and that boyfriend put a baby up in her, which is weird because if you're a man, um, then you would figure you would not want anyone in your vagina because the thing is, you're a man and you're not supposed to have a vagina. So how did he get his penis in your vagina? Um, if you're a man and he's supposed to be a gay man, so 'cause- since you're a lady who's a man and you have a boyfriend and he's a gay man and he was attracted to your manliness, then he wouldn't want to have nothing to do with your vagina because he's a gay man. And so, how did he get his penis into your vagina to make a baby? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Um, to me, it begs the question: is it, if this is possible and if this is good and this is sound doctrine, well then, do perverts exist? Or I mean, is there such thing as a pervert? Has there never been perverts in the world? Is what I'm asking. Because if you can put a baby into your gay boyfriend's vagina, um, then shouldn't that make your gay boyfriend a woman because they liked it in their vagina, and then they went ahead and got pregnant and had the baby as a man, um, because they liked it, they wanted to have the baby even though they were a man. I could barely get that out. I could barely even articulate. I don't even know if you could even understand it because I could barely understand it. If I could barely understand what I was just saying now, if chances are you have no idea what I was just saying now, then how in the world could a baby ever have the chance of growing up and having any clue on anything about life? That would be my number 2 point. But my third point, and lastly, is this. And they even mentioned it in the article. They said transplants are expensive, all right? Um, they said as far as a heart transplant would go, that's about 1.3 mil, all right? 1.3 million. So you got to imagine transplanting a whole womb into your man body. That would cost more than 1.3. Let's just say it was 2 million flat. All right? 2 million flat. They say most people wouldn't be able to afford this. They would only be able to get it on their insurance. All right? An insurance that more than likely would be covered by taxpayers because it's a mandatory one now. And you have to pay for everybody's diabetes. You have to pay for everybody's anything they want. If they want to cut off parts of them and they want to do all sorts of things, you have to pay for it. If they want to womb up into them, you're gonna have to pay about 2 million a pop for that. Um, and you got to understand that they're going to whine and cry and bitch and moan about the fact that they don't have enough money to do what they rightfully are able to do, even though they've never been able to do it. And God made sure that they were not able to do it. And you're going to have to pay for it and stuff. And so, I don't know. I don't really want to pay for that. And I'm a bad person and a hater for that. And you're also a bad person and a hater for that. And you need to shut that mouth because we're going to put babies up in man bodies. And everything's all right about that. Everything's all right about that. Anyways, it's November the 23rd, 2015.